In this video you'll start building the To-Do app. So here you'll write the first line of code for this app. And the big question is, where do you start? And the answer for that is start simple. So create a very basic version of your app first, and then you can add features along the road. So for our particular app, where we want to start is we want to show a message to the user to ask them to enter a to-do. So the first version of our program, which we will build in this video, is just show a message to the user telling them to enter a to-do. So let's do that. Now, this is my PyCharm IDE. If you have just installed PyCharm and you haven't created anything yet, you'll probably see this window and you should go to new project. If you have already opened PyCharm, then you should have a file menu here somewhere, and you can go to file and then new project. And that should do the same thing as this button here does. So by creating a new project, what you actually do is you create an empty folder, an empty directory, and in that directory you will put all your Python program files. So for this you need an empty directory. Now PyCharm suggests me a directory path here, but I want to specify my own directory path. So I'll go to browse and then I'll pick an empty folder. So previously I created this app1 empty folder on my computer. So that's an empty folder, so I'll click on open. And that defines the directory path of your project. Here we will write our Python programs in this directory. Now the next option is the environment. Now please leave this as it is, virtual env. I'll explain later what that is, but not today. And then you see this base interpreter. Here you want to be very careful. So these are all the Python installations that I have. So if you installed Python 3.10, you should select Python 3.10 as the interpreter. So what we installed earlier was a Python interpreter. It is a program which interprets the language, the Python code that we write. So this interpreter is the software that will execute our Python code. And there are different versions. So the version you downloaded, you should select it here. So I'll select 3.10 and then just press on create. And that will create a PyCharm project. You can press on close on that. And in this directory now, we have one folder named venv and this file main.py. Please don't delete the venv folder. That is a virtual environment which I'll explain later on in the course. And main.py is a file that PyCharm automatically creates, and this is a Python file. You don't need this, so PyCharm is just being nice and creating a file for us, but you can delete that and create a new file. So to create new Python files, you right click, go to new and go to Python file. Press that, give a name to your file. So main is a good name that many programmers use. So you can either specify .py, but even if you don't specify that, PyCharm will add a .py extension. So whatever you prefer, either way you will have a main.py file. In this file now we write the Python code. So as we said, what do we want to do? Well, let's start by thinking about the output and about the user. So we want to tell the user to enter a to-do. So to show output, on the command line, you use the print function with parentheses, and inside parentheses you put the text you want to show, and the text in Python goes always inside quotes. So double quotes and say enter a to do. So that's the text we want to show. To run this program now, there are two ways to do it. You either right click somewhere in this area in the text editor and go to run main, or you press that button. But I suggest to right click here and go to run main, because if you use this button here, when you have multiple Python files, it could be that the selection here could be another file, not the file that you have opened in here. And in that case, you might think that you'll be executing the file that's open in here, but in fact this button always executes whatever file is selected in here, not the file that is opened in here. So to make sure that you are executing the file which is opened in here, just right click here and go to run main, or use the shortcut that you see on the right on your PyCharm program. So for my case it is this shortcut. So press that to run the program and you'll see this area here. So that's the run tab which shows this output, and that's enter to do. That's the text that we instructed Python to print out on the command line. So that's the command line. And that's our Python program which produces that output. Now if you're using PyCharm, you don't need to save the files. So you don't need to go to File, Save, because the files are automatically saved on PyCharm. So if we close this PyCharm window now, you can go again to File and Open, and then locate that folder again and click on Open to open it. Or you can also go to File, Open Recent, and you'll see that project in here. So that's a project that will open again this window, and you can keep on coding. So that's about creating and running a Python program. In the next video we will add a feature to our program to make it more interactive. So I'll talk to you there.